For virtually my entire life, I've been told that eggs are bad. Now, I'm allergic to egg whites, so I can't actually really eat them, although I do enjoy egg yolks on a steak here and there. But for my entire life, I've been told eggs are bad. Except for when we're told eggs are good. And then eggs are bad again. And then eggs are good again. And on and on and on and on it goes. You've probably seen the song and dance so many times, but if you are on a carnivore diet or a ultra-low carbohydrate ketogenic diet, you probably eat eggs pretty often, and you probably feel better than you have ever in your entire life before you went on that eating program. Well, what if I told you a actual scientist who is a man after my own heart in this? He decided to conduct an experiment on himself, and he ate an absurd number of eggs in a month. I say a man after my own heart because if you've been watching my channel for any real length of time, you know that I always try to fine-tune my diet, my own carnivore diet, by going and doing an experiment to see if I can do something or not on it, and I've had a lot of fun times with this in the past. I haven't really done anything like that recently because I found what works for me. Beef, butter, bacon, eggs, egg yolks, and coffee. I can do coffee. And I can do spices as well. Not everybody can. This is why we tend to experiment on ourselves in this way. And this scientist did this himself. He spent a month, he eats 720 eggs in a month, which is mind-blowing. I actually don't want to know how much this cost him. The article I'm going to go over with you does not say how much this cost him. But that's about 24 eggs a day. That's a lot of eggs. A lot of eggs. I can't even fathom that number. But he ate a lot, and conventional wisdom tells us his cholesterol should have exploded, should have shot through the roof. Instead, his bad cholesterol went down, which isn't that surprising. In fact, he even did something that some of you carnivores might hesitate to endorse, which is he added some carbs into his diet because he's normally a ketogenic diet goer, and his LDL cholesterol went down. This is really interesting news. So we go to the Daily Mail with this headline: I ate 700 eggs in a month as an experiment. What happened to my health went against everything I'd been told. I know, conventional diet wisdom failing once again. I'm shocked. This is my shocked face. That what we're told about diet and nutrition from the experts has once again proven to not be true. It's almost like there's a whole sphere of dietary and nutrition YouTube that tells you that conventional diet wisdom is trash and should be disregarded. And it's good that we see somebody who did this, and he actually put his videos up on YouTube. You can find his channel and watch his videos if you're interested in watching a man eat 720 eggs in a month. I will be shocked if he doesn't start doing the rounds with some of the higher profile carnivore influencers here soon, because what he has found is interesting and needs to be shared with everybody. So let's get to the article for some details. Quote, after the month-long experiment that saw him eat the equivalent of 24 eggs per day, his low-density lipoprotein, LDL levels, or bad cholesterol, fell by 18%. LDL is considered to be bad cholesterol because it can build up as plaque in arteries, increasing the risk of heart disease and stroke. The other type of cholesterol, called high-density lipoprotein, or HDL, or good cholesterol, has a reverse effect, however, by helping to remove excess cholesterol from the bloodstream and transporting it to the liver. Experts warn that having too much LDL could raise the risk of heart disease and other conditions. Dr. Norwitz has a PhD in human brain metabolism from the University of Oxford and is completing his medical doctorate at Harvard University. During the experiment, which has been viewed more than 160,000 times on YouTube, Dr. Norwitz said he ate the eggs alongside his normal ketogenic diet of meat, fish, olive oil, nuts, dark chocolate, cheese, and yogurt. And despite the number he ate, Dr. Norwitz says he is still not sick of them and went to eat another 12 after speaking to the Daily Mail. He ate the diet alongside his fitness routine of about 1 hour of calisthenics every week. Calisthenics is a form of exercise that uses resistance training to build strength and includes doing push-ups, pull-ups, squats, lunges, and planks. Dr. Norwood said, quote, I hypothesize that eating 720 eggs in 1 month, which alone amounts to 133,200 milligrams of cholesterol, would not increase my cholesterol. Specifically, would not increase my LDL cholesterol. And indeed, it didn't, not a smidge. He added, even though my dietary intake of cholesterol more than quintupled, my LDL cholesterol actually dropped. He had to eat 24 eggs a day during the experiment, the equivalent of about 1 every hour if he didn't leave any time to sleep. Revealing the diet plan online, he also showed an image of the more than 40 cardboard egg boxes he had collected during the experiment. Eggs contain about 186 milligrams of cholesterol each. Other foods high in cholesterol include red meat and shellfish. Hypothesizing why eggs won't raise cholesterol, some scientists explain. In the gut, cholesterol binds to receptors on gut cells, which prompts the release of a hormone called cholesin. This travels through the blood to the liver, where it binds to a receptor called GPR146, which signals to the liver to produce less LDL, helping to maintain levels in the body. End quote. Some science. Now, the problem is the N in his study is 1 himself. N meaning the number of test subjects in his study. It was only 1. So we'll see if he gets it peer-reviewed, since it is a, quote, harder science that he's doing this experiment in, even though those more senior people in this community who have a more scientific background probably would probably not take seriously the claim that even nutrition science is much of a hard science, because so much of it is just hypothesis. You can't actually typically test people in lab conditions, because to do so properly would require doing testing for years under controlled conditions, and to put it mildly, there are serious ethical problems with doing so, since you'd essentially have to keep people in prison to do it properly. Can't do that in a free society. But it's still interesting, even if anecdotal. 720 eggs in a month. Aside from pocketbook issues here, his study shows that at least for him, this doesn't have an negative effect on anybody. In fact, it has a positive effect. Now, my challenge to you, if you have the resources to do this, if you have a YouTube channel, maybe start your own journey eating that many eggs a day to see what happens. If you're not normally eating eggs, get your cholesterol levels done, your blood work done ahead of time. Duplicate his study. Keep to a ketogenic diet. If you're watching this, you're not carnivore, but you do keto, a similar ketogenic diet as him, see if you can duplicate it. It would be interesting to see it, because that's actually how the scientific process works. Now, granted, he's actually a PhD in brain metabolism, so he is a little more expert than the typical person watching this. But it would be interesting nonetheless to see what the end result is. Now, he had one more finding here. I found this interesting. He continued this and added carbs in to see what would happen. From the article, quote, after the first 2 weeks of his experiment, Dr. Norwitz also decided to start eating 60 grams of carbohydrates per day. For this, he focused on fruits like bananas, blueberries, and frozen cherries, which he ate by dipping them in macadamia butter. To hit the 60 grams target, he would need to eat the equivalent of 2 bananas a day, or 21 ounces of blueberries. He explained how eating more carbohydrates can help to reduce cholesterol levels further in the body. In people on a low-carbohydrate diet, levels of LDL tend to surge in their bodies because their system starts to burn fat for energy instead of carbohydrates. But when someone eats more carbohydrates, the reverse happens, with LDL levels falling in the body because the person is getting more energy from carbs. End quote. I'd actually like a better explanation for why eating carbohydrates allegedly reduces your LDL, since typically the people who have the cholesterol problems, it's because their cholesterol levels are out of whack. They're not in the proper balance. And usually they're eating a high-fat, high-carbohydrate diet. So I'd really like to see why it is they say that carbohydrates lower cholesterol. If you are knowledgeable about some things, a simple explanation in the comments would be greatly appreciated for anybody wondering that same question themselves. But I'm curious what you think about this study. You think this was kind of a foolhardy study? You think it's foolhardy of me to suggest that one of you, if you're interested, consider duplicating his effects, assuming you're in normal health, of course. Let me know in the comments what you think about this study, or if you've watched his videos. Let me know if you have. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't. It does help. Sharing this on social media helps too. I'm Anthony Stine, the Practical Carnivore. Thanks for tuning in.